we go. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Fit with Us podcast, episode number 19. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that it's no Kyle's face. If you're listening on Spotify, you'll hear that it's no Kyle's voice. He's ditched us this week, but I'm joined by a very, very special guest, Mr. Babe Magnet and Sunday Times bestseller himself, Fraser, aka Fraz Reynolds. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. What an intro.
Oh,
What
it's
an intro.
fantastic. Mate, I've been
Sunday Times
thinking about
bestseller. Jeez.
Mate, been thinking about that one all week. I'm thinking, mate, it's so good to have you join us, man. Thanks very much. I know you're obviously a busy man, but I appreciate you taking the time out to jump on for a wee half an hour and have a chat with us, man.
All good, man. All good. I'm loving the headphones, man. You're looking
Thank
very
you, mate.
good there, mate.
Mate, the typical, the usual podcast listeners and watchers are used to me with my big fucking headphones on, man. So take that one in my stride. For anybody, there's going to be a few people that are delighted to hear your voice because I've got a few people from 12X and stuff. We'll talk about 12X soon. I've got a few people for them that listen to the podcast and watch it, so they'll be absolutely delighted to see that you're on. But for people that don't know who Fraser is, um, how massive following on social media. How many recipes would you say you batter out a week? Is it 3, 4 recipes a week?
Geez, oh man, right now you're probably going into double figures. Like it's wild because we're doing quite a lot of testing at the moment as well
Right.
for the project coming up. So, but this is, to be fair, I was thinking about it, man. This is the first podcast I've been on in maybe about two years or something like that. When I split away with
Right.
Neil, we were doing a podcast for a while called Chewing the Fat Loss podcast. That was
Nice.
a
Wait, that is a class name, actually. I need to check
Oh,
that out.
right. You missed you missed out go there with that one. But I know, so we're probably doing maybe 9, 10, sometimes a bit more, depending on. And to be honest, right now social media is just getting, like, the quality of production's just getting higher and higher every single week. So it's difficult to get your videos out because there's some big heavy hitters coming in who have got some really sexy cameras, and I'm still on the old iPhone just babbling away, man. So it's trying to make the recipes, number one, tasty, number two, that they're decent in terms of calories and protein, etc., but also that there's a bit of you in there as well. So
Mhm.
right now I'm just testing loads of different stuff and seeing how we go for there. But the kitchen's no looking bra, mate. Let's just say that. And I'm never at the supermarket, so the wee Portuguese lassie's always just staring at me. Like, keep back again, man. She's like, guys, never out here. Sometimes I can be in supermarkets 3 or 4 times a day. You know what it's like, man. You done a few
Oh,
recipes and
man.
stuff like that, and it's a shift. Folk think it's just, oh, you just go and pick up ingredients, then you do this, and then you just go home and eat it. And I'm like, nah. See, when the stress is hitting, man, and stuff boiling over, or you can't get stuff ready in time, and do you know what I mean? You're missing the shot, and you want the juice pouring down, and it's fun and games, mate. Fun and
That's
games.
brutal, man. Like you said, I've been there before. I've done what 4 recipes for you, and honest to God, it took me about like 4 or 5 days just to do 4 recipes because it is an absolute shift. Sometimes I sit and think to myself, "Fuck me, I'm knackered for all the work that I've done this week," and then I look at the work that you're putting in, and it humbles me, man. And I tell myself to stop greeting for nothing. But so basically, your thing on social media is you're putting out recipes for everybody that's high in protein, low in calories because you want to make people, you don't want, what's the word I'm looking for here, you want to show that dieting and looking after your nutrition doesn't have to be chicken, rice and veg 2 or 3 times a day. It doesn't have to be boring. It can be exciting. You can eat tasty food and still look after your health, still be on top of your nutrition, still lose weight. um how did you how did you come about getting into that? Talk to us a wee bit about kind of how that came about.
So I would say that for me, it's about creating freedom around food, and the reason I'm kind of in this position right now is, I'll be brutally honest, I've probably got a wee bit of a chip on my shoulder with the dieting industry as a whole,
Mhm.
purely because it put me through hell. It put me in probably the darkest moments in my life, the trenches, whatever you want to call it. And at the age of 15, moving into 16, I had an eating disorder. I was probably the same height I am now, and I was weighing in at maybe 6 or 7 stone, and went and had to go and sit with psychologists and sit in circle rooms and talk about my feelings and everything like that. And the main reason that I was doing that was because I had this kind of image in my head of what a guy should look like, you know, the chiseled abs and everything like that. And it's only now, once I've kind of stepped away from that, I realised that I didn't really need that image, you know what I mean? But it put a lot of pressure on me, and it certainly drew me to a point where, you know, they were saying that they were going to hospitalise me, they were going to put me in a drip and basically just feed me through tubes and everything like that, because I was at that point where I was kind of refusing to eat, and I was beating myself up. So I was kind of at a point in my life where as soon as I ate something, if it wasn't deemed as healthy in my eyes, or as the world of dieting would tell you is healthy, then I would kind of go and exercise to very, very extreme extents. I mean, I remember leaving tables to go and, you know, run up and down stairs in terms of restaurants. I would go and do press ups and sit ups and squats and everything like that in toilets and bathrooms in restaurants. I would go. I remember one time leaving a few of the boys at the table, and basically saying, "Look, guys, I can't go out tonight, or I can't go to this party or whatever." And I ended up going away and putting weights on my ankles, and I went and ran like 16 mile with these weights attached to my ankles because I was so guilty of the pizza. Another one of my mates as well, Scotty, I used to go to his mum's house, and because she knew that I had this kind of eating disorder, she would make like my own like healthy food. And all the other guys would have like sandwiches and rolls and sausage and everything like that. But she wanted to make sure that I was eating something. So, there's been loads of stuff, man. But that was mainly how I kind of fell into it. It was purely because of that association that I had with, if you eat this, it'll make you fat.
Mhm.
And I thought, there's got to be a different way to do this, you know. And I think a lot of it was coming from the whole sort of macho gym scene. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I thought when I was looking in the mirror, right? It sounds mental talking about it now, but when I was looking in the mirror, I thought because I was so skinny, I actually had like abs. But
Mhm.
I thought like that was me having like muscle. But I was so like, I don't know, ill-informed. So I would say that I've still got that right now. I've still got that wee chip in my shoulder, and that kind of, I'm going to show these bastards. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But that was kind of how it all kind of worked out for me.
Aye, that is an absolutely mental story. I know we've obviously spoken about it before, but every time I hear it, I'm just like, that holy fuck, man. Like,
Mm.
how did you get away from that? How did you start kind of no fixing yourself because you only broke, but how did you start educating yourself and then starting to accept that there is other ways to do it? Because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Obviously the diet industry, the fitness industry, it's a fucking cesspit. It's a mess. You've got hundreds of people um scaremongering, fear mongering against certain foods. You've got one group of people saying fruit's bad for you. You've got one group of people saying fruit's good for you. It's so confusing with all this kind of information at the especially on social media. A lot of people are going to TikTok for their information just now, and Instagram stuff, and that's not the place to learn. And back in the day, obviously when you were 15, 16, or when we were 15, 16, like TikTok and Instagram wasn't a thing. Social media wasn't really a thing. Facebook was just kind of starting. We had
Mhm.
like Bebo and whatnot, Bebo and MySpace and all that. Um, but how did you then start to educate yourself and then start to change those habits? Because that must have been a very, very fucking hard thing to do.
I mean, I think even now, just talking about like or seeing what I see in social media, you're the same, and I'm kind of a bit disappointed. You know, you've got the guys in the supermarkets and everything like that. I always feel the more I look into the fitness industry, the more I kind of get a wee bit more upset.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go into who I follow, right, I'll tend to follow people who are creating recipes that I see are going to inspire me, and their kind of freedom around food and everything like that. But I very rarely follow actual fitness professionals, because I
Mhm.
feel like everybody's just kind of pushing on the same kind of hymn sheet and everything like that. And it's just, for me, it's just a bit boring. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can eat this, but you can't eat this. And it's just one of those things. But going back to how I kind of got out of the trenches, it was mainly through my PE teacher, man. So we had a kind of agreement where I would go and have lunch with him at lunchtime, and then he would take me to the gym. So the way that I kind of got educated to start with was, I was in the gym at 16 and I was learning off him, man. And the big thing for him was that not only were we eating together, but while we were in the gym, he was trying to educate me as much as possible, not just on the gym stuff, but more importantly on the food side of it, and say,
Mhm.
look, you need your protein, you need your calories. This is why it's beneficial. This is why you need this to build muscle and everything. So I was quite lucky in that instance. I reckon if he hadn't came in and kind of showed me the ropes, I'm not really sure where I would have ended up. But that was the kind of the catalyst for me to get
Hmm.
the wheels sort of rolling. And then after that, it was a case of, right, I'm enjoying this. Let's continue to participate in sport. And then went off and kind of fell into the world of the PE teacher because I
Hmm.
like the kind of the coaching side of it as well. I seen him as a big inspiration. I seen all the PE teachers as big sort of role models, and I thought, do you know what? I quite like these guys. I'm going to go off and try and pursue that as well. So that's kind of how it
Aye,
unfolded.
you are obviously very lucky to just have somebody there that kind of recognised what you were going through and helped you out. Of it. So again,
I mean that's the thing. I see this as like the never revolving wheel, and it's probably the sad thing is it's not going to end because
aye.
what happens is as kids come through school, they'll go into a PE class, and this doesn't happen in all PE classes. I'm not bagging off PE teachers or anything like that, but they'll go into that PE environment, and for a lot of kids, they'll automatically get turned off to exercise. Now, when you're
Hmm.
turned off to exercise, what tends to happen is you start to resist that. You say, oh, I forgot my kit, I forgot this, blah, blah. And then before they know it, they've piled on weight, they've got low self esteem, low self confidence. So they need to go and try and get a half decent job so that they can pay a personal trainer, pay a PT, join a gym. And it just goes round. And then because they've had a bad relationship with exercise, they then tend to pass that on to their kids. And then it just goes round and round. Whereas I think right now within schools, why is there no education around nutrition?
Aye, 100%.
It drives me completely nuts. See, the only thing we've got right now is that wee plate, where half of it's a salad. Mind seeing it in school, right?
Aye,
So
aye.
that plate, they show you that plate from the age of 6, and the final plate is the exact same plate at the age of 16. For me, that is completely fucked. I mean, in the world, you wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast, you have your lunch, you have your dinner. Some of us have supper. I love supper as well. And then snacks in between, right? But there
Hmm.
is no education around what you should and shouldn't be eating.
I there's
We're
a bit
not
of
told
a
how
there's,
to actually look after yourself.
yeah, aye, 100%. I think there's a bit of an agenda coming from like the government and stuff because obviously being in public schools, you're getting taught what the government want you to get taught, if that makes sense. Um, if they can push uh, unhealthy habits on you, you're going to be visiting more doctors, you're going to be buying more pharmaceuticals, you're going to be paying more, uh, visiting the NHS a lot more. And I think there is a bit of an agenda behind that. It's also just pure ignorance as well because people that are older think they know they think they know quite a lot about nutrition when they actually know fuck all. But this is all coming from when they've grown up. They've been used to eating whatever gets put in front of them. Um, and I definitely think there's just a tiny wee bit of an agenda there, pushing unhealthy habits on families so they make more money in the long run. I know it sounds fucking really bizarre, but when you really look like when you really kind of delve into it, like you just said there about that plate, it's the same plate for 6 to 16. There is no education in that whatsoever. When I was back at school, our lunches used to be burgers and chips. Like,
Mm.
where is the fucking nutrition in that whatsoever? There was none. I was a wee fat kid in school. I'm not putting that down to school lunches and school dinners. I'm putting that down to kind of a lot of my home life and whatnot. But there was no option for me to choose a healthier, lower calorie, higher protein option. I pretty much ate what got put in front of me with my wee dinner ticket. Do you ever get one of the wee paper dinner tickets?
Aye.
They were class, aren't they? So there could be an agenda there. I think there might be, but obviously I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't know too much about it. But what do you think
Well, I
about
think for
that?
me, just like the Jamie Oliver thing, was it Jamie Oliver that done like the kind of meals in school,
Aye.
something like that, right? That's all good. You're providing meals, you're changing the lunch menu and everything like that, but there was absolutely zero education behind that.
Yep.
That's almost like just putting a plaster over the problem, right? Let's just throw a load of money in it. We'll get a decent chef in, Jamie Oliver. He'll make the meals. The kids will eat the meals. Everything's better again. It's like, aye, they'll do that for a couple of years. Then they lose the budget. Then we're all back to eating square sausages and burgers. It's like, what's the point? Do you know what I
Aye.
mean? Just get somebody in there that's going to educate these guys for the first year at high school. And more importantly, when they get into their later years, educating them about how to look after themselves. Why
Aye.
not Do you know what I mean? Because a PE teacher's no got the time. You've got 33 kids in your class. You're trying to teach wee Jimmy how to do a layup in basketball. It's just not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I've not got time to talk about protein calories with him. I'm trying to eat it into my lunchtime, like my PE teacher done as well. So, aye.
It's a tough gig, innit? It's like the Johnny coming in just throwing a wee bit of sawdust on it to fix it.
That's it. Aye, it'll be fine. Aye, just cover it up, it'll be fine. So,
So
aye.
let's talk a wee bit more about what you're doing to help kind of change the diet industry and help as many people as you can. So obviously on your socials, you've got your recipes, which you are absolutely fucking annihilating right now. That's what led to the book release. That's what led to becoming a Sunday Times bestseller. But what a lot of people on the social media don't see is what you do in the background,
Mm.
and that is 12x essentially. Like I say, we've got a lot of 12x listeners to this podcast, so they'll be delighted that I've mentioned 12x. But this happens in the background. And like I say, not a lot of people on social media even know about 12x because you are so focused on getting the recipes and stuff out there. So do you want to talk a wee bit about 12x, how it works?
Yeah, so I'd probably say that the reason that I don't really advertise, do you call it advertise? I don't know, talk about it as much is
Mhm.
because I just feel like there's a lot of it on the internet right now, and
Yeah.
what I tend to prefer to do is bring people in and enjoy the freedom that they've got around food, and then the educational part will come over the back of it as well. So basically, 12x is essentially we dress it up as a 12-week program because if I say to you, right, I need you to come in and focus on this for 6 months, you're probably not going to do it. You're going to be like, no bother, I've not got 6 months. But if I say 12 weeks, you'll come in. And we dress it up as a diet, you know what I mean? We'll say it as a diet, but what people are realizing very, very quickly is it's not just about the food. It's not just about, trying to untangle these kind of difficulties that you've got around your eating habits and everything like that. A lot of it is to do with the way that you're talking to yourself. And I go on about this all the time, but 95% of the whole program is the way that you talk to yourself. You've got to remember that you spend 100% of your time inside your own head. If you're constantly thinking about the diet and constantly thinking about, oh, what am I going to eat? And you go out for your dinner, and, oh, I can't have this and I can't have that. Do you know what I mean? You're going to drive yourself mental. So, and even if you have a hard day or you go over calories or everything like that, see inside 12x. Oh, do not worry. See you the next day. Get up, flick the switch, get yourself back in, and let's continue building that momentum. Because that one day or even that one week isn't going to dictate your long-term success. And when I say success, it's not just associated to the number on the scales. What we're looking at here is the way that you're talking to yourself, the way that you're thinking about yourself, and most importantly, just building that positive relationship with the mirror, with yourself
Mhm.
on a day-to-day basis. Being, I mean, the thing is, when you come in and you start to focus on yourself, you're suddenly more productive at work. Your kids get a better version of you. Your family get a more energetic, a happier, a healthier, more confident person. You suddenly want to take the kids down to the park and everything like that. Do you know what I mean? All these amazing things start to happen once you start to focus on your health and well-being.
Mhm.
And yes, we call 12x a diet, but let's be honest, that's just a wee secret. That's just a wee bit, come in. Come in, we'll help you lose a few pounds. But what people realise inside 12x is that it's not just about losing weight, so much
Oh,
more.
the education inside of 12x is absolutely phenomenal as well. I have mentioned 12x on the podcast a few times because obviously I'm a coach in 12x. You're essentially my boss, which is class to say as
What
well.
about that, mate? You've just been wrong.
Um, so I'm also a coach inside the 12x program as well. And what Fraz has started and what obviously we're building inside the fitness industry is definitely making waves. It's just educating people, like you said, telling people that they need to start talking better to themselves. People come in expecting it to be a 12-week diet. So we've had people on boardways for what 6 months plus now, since the middle of last year, almost a full year coming up. And that is just because they've bought into the mindset shift, they've bought into the education, they know that if they have a couple of days off plan, it's no the end of the fucking world. We all do it. We're all human at the end of the day. Like my training the last 2 or 3 weeks has been shocking. I've had a stag do. I've been out to Portugal to see you. I've had way too many beers. I have went a full week not tracking. Is it going to affect my long-term success? Absolutely not. And that's what we are starting to educate people on. You see so much shite on social media, the wishy-washy bullshit, as you call it. Eat less, move more. If you don't do it, you don't want it enough. If you're not seeing results, you're obviously not trying hard enough. When that's not the case whatsoever. And that is, like I say, that's what 12x is educating people on. It's also educating people on how to enjoy foods guilt-free. And that's like another massive part of your page as well. Like getting those high protein, low calorie recipes out is just showing people that they can enjoy all these tasty foods guilt-free. You've had like pizzas, you've had burgers, you've had curries. Salivating just thinking about it in a minute. But um, like I said, a lot of people think dieting or looking after your health is eating bland chicken, some rice, and a wee portion of veg on the side of the plate, like that plate that you seen when you were 6 in fucking primary school. But
Aye,
I
that's the thing as well. I mean, it's just going back to that kind of chip in the shoulder that I've got,
mhm,
and to be honest, I probably will have for the rest of my days. Is that we want people to come in and feel kind of empowered again. We want
mhm.
people to come in and actually feel like they're in control, that the food is no longer controlling them. Because for a lot of people, they do live a life where food just controls their day-to-day being. We've got so many people in the program now that I honestly really feel, sorry for at the start.
Yep.
And but it's that gives me the kind of motivation and inspiration to go, this person really, really needs my help. Like they really need to start changing because the feelings that they must have is stress every single day associated to food and associated with looking a certain way. And that's the big thing as well, is we want to build that confidence with you in your own skin. It's about having that association with yourself and knowing that you are worthy and you are okay the way you are.
Yep.
It's not about, oh, you've seen this wee bunny boiler on Instagram and everything like that. I mean, that's the reason why the majority of people who come through the program aren't interested in chiseled abs or having a wee cute arse or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, not that I've got anything against a wee cute arse. Do you know what I mean? I know you've got lovely arse, guys, but
I mean, let's talk about some of the successes that we've had inside the group, right? Because it's no all been they've lost X amount of pounds or they've lost X amount of kilos or stone. Some people have completely transformed their life. They've come off. We've had a few people now that's come off antidepressants just through changing their daily habits. Not like they've not made drastic changes, they've just learned how to start speaking to themselves better. They've learned how to start treating themselves better. They've actually put themselves first for a change. So we've had quite a few people who are who've came off antidepressants completely, and we've got some people just now who are kind of weaning themselves off them slowly. Um, some people have started swimming. They'd never had the confidence to start swimming because they felt like they were too big or out of shape or they didn't like what they'd seen in the mirror. Some people have now got the confidence that they've started swimming. Some people have signed up for Couch to 5Ks. It isn't all just about weight loss. And that is why I think one of the reasons why I think the fitness injury industry is so fucked because people are so focused on what other people think of them and um what other people are going to say by how they look that they actually totally forget about themselves and they start fucking neglecting everything that they need to be doing to put themselves in a better position. What other things have we got people doing as well? If you get any,
So I think the best way I would like to describe the program is a happiness program.
yes,
That's the
aye,
way
aye, aye,
that's the way I like to look at it. Rather than there's been some incredible wins and there'll continue to be incredible wins. But for me, the most impressive thing is just seeing people a bit happier.
yeah,
Seeing
yeah,
people that they're not being too harsh on themselves anymore. They're actually enjoying their life. And what's really crucial for me as well is that the byproduct of that is that the family is seeing a different person as well. We've got so many mums who are finally able to find time to put themselves first. And then from that, they're becoming this incredible role model for their kids. So the way that I see it, if we're going back to that kind of educational loop, I'm kind of trying to nip it in the bud with the parent, and if the parent can start to become the role model for the child and the role model, and the child is seeing this, then they might go and tell their pals at school and it might start to continue this wave. Um, I never really seen myself as a person who wanted to go in and be the educational piece in the school, but I felt like if I can get in with the parents, I can potentially impact the families, and if I can impact the families, that'll hopefully make a difference longer term. So again, it's one of those things that for me it's really, really crucial that people talk to themselves as best they possibly can. We're in a
Yeah.
world right now where we're bombarded about looking a certain way. Oh, we've all got to be happy every single day. All the coaches, including yourself, Gary, and I said this to you at day one, I don't really give a shit what qualifications you've got, right? I said that to you. That was probably the first thing I said to you. Do not give a shit. What I want to know is, are you relatable for the people you're trying to help? Do you actually care? And are you willing to show up for these people?
Hmm.
That's the most important three things that a coach can have for me. Whereas I feel like a lot of the time people just go, "Oh, he's got loads of qualifications. He must be great." Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But these guys with loads of qualifications, I'm not saying that all of them are, but in my experience, are just a bit self-obsessed. They're
Aye.
very much about them. I feel like the world of fitness, the guys with the chiseled abs, the cute little lassie, she's very much interested in herself. It's not relatable to the people that we're trying to help. We've got real people in here, we've got real families, and that's why the program's a wee bit different, because it's relatable. You know, even you
Hmm.
going on talking about your story and your background and your difficulty with food, people relate to that. You know, they can see, even going on there the last couple of weeks, you've went on and delivered that story about how you've had a shit couple of weeks and everything like that. People can relate to that. You're no longer this person on this pedestal, like, oh my God, like that's amazing. They've got like this whole life. And nah, we have shit days as well. We have shit weeks. We have really shit months. It's all part of the process, and it's fine. You know, it's about working through these as best you can with the support network we've got.
Aye, 100%. Another reason, that's another reason why I think social media is so fucked, because you always only see the good side and the best part of people's days, and especially these coaches that are in good shape, right? Um, they only show you the best part of their days, and you start to think, well, if I'm not doing what they're doing, and if I'm not living the way living life the way they live their life, I'm never going to get to a point where I'm going to be happy in my own skin. And I think a lot of these coaches I'm not speaking for everyone, but I know people that have had experience with well-known coaches on social media, and they train clients the same way that they train themselves.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And again, I just think the fitness industry is such a mess at the minute, and it is because of things like this. Like, if you've got a morbidly obese female, we'll say, why are you training them the way you train yourself when you're a 25-year-old male? Why are you giving them calf raises? Why are you giving them bicep curls? And then they're getting upset that things aren't working for them. And you don't give a fuck because you're only in this game for the money. You're only in this game because of how you look, and you're making profit off the back of that. And all you're doing for the people that we work with is making them feel worse about themselves. And then what's going to happen off the back of that is they're just going to go right back to where they started. They're going to turn back to food for comfort because that's all they know what to do. That's the only thing they know that's going to give them comfort in that moment. And then they feel like they're broken. They feel like nothing's going to help them. They feel like they can't be fixed, and it leaves the fitness industry with a really, really poor reputation and a really bad name. And I think that's what us in 12X are trying to reverse. We're trying to fix that. We're trying to show people that you don't have to look like this fucking tadger on Instagram who pretends he's got the best life, who pretends that he's no stress. You don't have to live life the way they live their life. Because we are very, very realistic inside 12X. And like you said, like I share all my problems and stuff too. And that's no for that's no like a cry for help. That's just to show people that they aren't alone, which is why I done that video a couple of weeks ago. Because I don't want to be on a pedestal. I don't want to be away up here thinking people that I have an amazing life when, and you're the same. Like our lives are fucking stressful, mate. Like
Oh,
every day is a mad stress. And see if we can share that with people and show them that no, every day is easy, but we just get up, we brush ourselves off, and we get on with it. Then it does make us more relatable, and it does allow for, especially people in 12X, to see that, do you know what? I have had a bad day today, but it's okay because I can just get right back on it tomorrow. And I think it's so, so empowering, the message that we are sending and we're trying to get through to people on 12x as well. Now, obviously, if we could do that across the whole of social media and send it to everybody, of course you're going to get people saying, "Oh, he's a full of shite." But I just think that the difference that we are making inside the fitness industry is absolutely class, and it goes to show by how many people we've got in the group and how many people have stuck with us long term. You know what I mean? And if we could just flip the switch and get 12x across the whole of social media instead of all this wishy-washy fucking absolute nonsense, I think the world would be such a better place.
That's it, man. That's it. I mean, there's nothing more attractive than someone who's confident in their own skin. And I probably discovered this maybe about, I don't know, 12 years ago. I went for this, it was like a corporate job. I was going to
Mhm.
hate every second of it, but I came back, I'd been away traveling. I was like, I need to do some, do you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, I'll go for this and see if I can make it in the corporate world. And I went in and this guy stood up, man, and he just oozed confidence. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that guy just oozes confidence. Like, I absolutely love that. And then I started to think about it as well, and I was like, but he's not really in the best shape.
Mhm.
And had the guy that stood up that had the wee tight t-shirt on and everything like that, big massive muscles, and he just kind of squirmed away. And I was like, fuck, that guy isn't even that confident. He's got all these big muscles, but he's not. And then look at the other guy. He's built that relationship with himself. And he's just,
Mhm.
I mean, you know those guys that you meet and you go, oh, that guy just oozes confidence.
Aye.
He's what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? He's looking after himself. He's feeling good and everything like that. But when I say looking after himself, it's the way that he's talking. You know, he's built that positive relationship with himself. He's not being arrogant, but he's just there's something about him, and that's what I love seeing inside 12x as well. Is just folk building that confidence
Aye.
within themselves, within their own skin. And the best example I've got is, you know, you've not seen your mate in 3 or 4 months. You arrive at a wedding and they go, oh, Sandra, you look 190 pounds. Do you know
Aye.
what I mean? No one has ever said that in their life if they're a decent pal. But what they might go is, oh, wow, Sandra, you look amazing. What have you been doing? And Sandra's just oozing confidence. You know what I mean? She's looking better. She's feeling better. She's up. She's boogieing. She's dancing. And everybody's like, wow, Sandra's changed. Oh, she's not just changed physically, but she's changed the way that she's talking to herself, that she
Aye.
is, that she can do this, and that she deserves her place. And for me, that's what it's all about.
Aye. Absolutely love that, man. Absolutely love that. Give me a wee change of subject here because we need to wrap it up in 5 minutes if that's okay, mate. Give me one fitness myth that needs to die. I love this question.
Eh,
I put you on the spot, and I
aye, but I've not really thought that far about it in terms of a fitness myth.
right,
Because
I'll
I
give you
just
my one, and you
do you
can
know what it is? Do you know
what's
why
that?
I've not got one? Because I just didn't pay attention to see anybody that talk. I'll be brutally honest, Gary. See anybody that talks about fitness, right? See, unless I'm like engaged with it, like, I'll just skip past it. I'm just
Aye,
not really that in. It sounds weird, but I'm not really that interested in the world of fitness. I'm interested in a happiness program. That's
yeah.
the way I would describe it. Do you know what I mean? It's so weird, but aye, give me yours.
I'll give you one, and it's related to food, so I think it's very fitting. Eating after a certain time turns to fat. So eating after 8 o'clock is a bad idea because it just turns to fat.
Aye, pish.
Absolute load of fucking nonsense. And this is stuff that's been drilled into people for years and years and years because people just fearmonger and scare people into thinking that it's true. Rachel's mum said it the other week. Like she was making something to eat at like just after 8. And she's like, I know I shouldn't be eating this. And I was like, why? Oh, because that's what they tell you. And I'm like, who? Who fucking tells you that? Oh, the NHS and slimming groups. And I'm like, they don't know what they're fucking talking about.
Aye,
Cal
to be honest, everything to do with these slimming groups, and I think that's what people don't understand as well, is that these. Let's just take Slim World for an example. I don't like bagging off different. I mean, it is what it is. It's up to yourself if you want to follow that. But you've got to remember that this is a business, and it's probably one of the
Mhm.
best businesses in the world, right? And I'll
Yeah.
explain why. Because and this is probably a myth that needs to die, is any dieting club, right? So basically, what happens is you come in, you get a really fast result using their products, right? And then you have that association with their products help you lose weight, right? Because there's no education around calories and everything like that. So what they've done is they've sold you that product helps you lose weight, right? and that going to that service helps you lose weight. But the problem is that you don't have the education and the infrastructure to maintain that. Unless you want to eat Slimming World products for the rest of your life, the chances are as soon as when you go back to eat normal food, you're going to spiral and go back to the way you were. And that's what we see a lot of people. The amount of people who come through the door, as we see all the time, oh, I dropped in 3 stone with Slimming World. Aye, so what happened? What are you here for? Oh, put it all back on. All right, cool. Right. So you went back to eating normal food. And
Aye,
therefore, but that's the thing. That's why it's a very, very good business because you'll continuously go back. It's got 100% success rate and 100% failure rate because you succeed, then you fail, then you succeed, then you fail. But as soon as they make that association with that product and that service, then you constantly associate yourself with it. You associate losing weight with that. Oh, I'll go back to Slim World because my holidays are coming up. Drop
aye,
down all
aye.
the weight and then go on holiday. I can pile it all back on. Aye.
It's absolutely bonkers, isn't it? It's absolutely wild.
I
One
just
of the
didn't get it, man. I've never really been able to understand it because surely people can see that. Surely they can see that that's what they're doing.
but then that's from our point of view, we can see it, but people aren't they aren't educated in what we want them to be educated in. So they are thinking slimming world's the only way to do it. They don't want to go to the gym. They think going to the gym's going to make them big and bulky and look like fucking The Rock. So they don't want to do that. They can't be asked getting up after ass to go for a walk. They don't want to go and get steps in. So they think slimming world's the easier option, the easier answer because it's worked for them in the past
Mm.
for a brief time. And us as human beings, the way our brains are the way our brains work basically is we always look for the easier option. We want the easier option. We don't want to make things hard for us. So if Slimming World is the easier option, they're going to go for Slimming World. They'd rather go for Slimming World and have people tell them what they can and can't eat than educate themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Aye.
Um,
It's a vicious cycle. Eh?
it's a vicious, vicious cycle, and it is just Slimming World is just a business at the end of the day. They don't give a flying fuck about your health. They don't care about your mental health, your well-being. They just care about how much money they can bring in the door.
Well, that's it. You know what I mean? The reason they sell Slimming World products in the supermarket is that association. And
It's
it's amazing when people say, oh, but Slimming World's only, what is it, like a five or a tenner a week or something like that.
aye,
And I'm like, aye, but you spent that tenner a week, but you also spent 40, 50 quid on buying their products as well.
aye.
So I would rather just be scranning burgers and chips and pizza and everything at the
Aye,
same time as feeling better. So, but
100%.
each their own, mate. So all
Well,
good.
we're trying, mate. We're trying to do what we can to reverse all this nonsense, aren't we?
Aye, well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
One group at a time, mate. One group at a time. But
Aye,
it's
chipping away slowly, chipping away slowly. Right, mate. I'm going to have to shoot off because I do have another wee thing going on in a couple of minutes. But tell everybody that's listening that don't know who you are or where to find you, where they can find you.
if you type in Fraser Reynolds onto Instagram, I think it's Fraser _ Reynolds.
Mhm.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I think I'm on as well. We are the
Class.
kids. Come on.
Love that, love that. What I'll do is I'll link your Instagram and Facebook in the show notes on Spotify and in the description on YouTube so people can find you. But listen, mate, thank you very much for popping on.
No worries at all, man. All good.
Absolutely
Have a
appreciate
crack
it.
for a Friday, man. We'll catch up soon.
Absolutely, mate. Take it easy. Thanks everybody for listening. And oh fuck, I forgot to put mine in. I know you can find me at gmax_health and fitness as well on Instagram. But again, I'll put that in the show notes and the description. But thanks for listening, everybody, and see you all next week.